Hey everybody, my name is Mike. Welcome back to my channel. And as you can see here, this gigantic pile of parts used to be a complete 1992 Honda 300 4x4. But as you can see, it's completely blown to pieces. I actually picked up two of these a few months back. One video is already completed on the green one, but this one kind of got put to the side because it needed a bunch of work. Let me show you where I'm at. So over here towards the front of the shop, I got the frame ready to go to sandblasting. I'm not sending it out, I'm gonna do it myself. But as you can see, it's a 92, which was the last year that used the single backbone frame, which indicates it's a Generation 1 machine. I got a little bit of sentimentalness with the 92 because I had a friend that was on a blue 92. Unfortunately, this one's red, but he got in a really bad car accident back when I was running around with a bunch of guy friends and foolers. He ended up being okay, but it was a pretty significant time in my life. So I'm kind of looking forward to restoring a 92. Here's the green 1998, which is a Generation 2 machine. There's really not a whole lot of difference between the two other than the frame's different. This one's a little easier to find parts for, but I wouldn't avoid either generation. But this one has kind of been challenging in the fact that everything is really wore out. Let me give you some close-ups. So the front axles are just destroyed. The wear on this inner joint is extreme, and on the receiving end. But interestingly, the brakes look brand new, and so does the drum, so that's really shocking. But then on the other side was a whole nother story. This was an hour plus work. Had to get this hot 3 times and increasingly more aggressive with the heat. So much so that I had this basically red hot. This axle did not want to come out, and you can see I beat and beat and beat on it, and it was frozen in here. But I think I saved the knuckle. I believe this part's okay. I'm not sure if I warped this or not, so that's borderline. The A-arms I already took off before, they're okay. So I'm definitely going to need some parts here. Let me bring you over to the parts shelf. I did a video on, completely went through the engine. This is 100% rebuilt. I used all genuine Honda parts, bored the cylinder on the Bridgeport myself. It was so wore that the timing chain jumped tooth and bent valves, and the cylinder was wore like to 5/1000ths piston the bore clearance, which normally are between 1 and 2. So this thing has been ran into the ground. Came out of a kind of a farm in Nebraska. You can kind of see some farmer add-ons, but that's okay. The good news on this one, there's a lot of negative, but the good news is that it seems to be unmolested, and what I mean by that is it didn't have any modifications. It doesn't look like it was ran in muddy creeks. It just was used on the farm until it literally wouldn't run anymore. I would assume at the end of its life it was a very ticky engine, clanky axles, and just extremely worn feeling ATV. Now the plastics aren't too bad. They're definitely workable. So I'm not even worrying about that at this point. But I need to get this frame sandblasted. I didn't record tearing this all the way down because honestly, the amount of interest I got on this four-wheeler rebuild was a lot less than I anticipated. in comparison to doing the 1840 skid steer. And maybe it's the, the barrier to entry to do ATV work is a lot lower than heavy equipment. I don't know. But I didn't bother recording disassembly. I got a few shots with my brother and son helping me out. I'll put up here in the screen.
It doesn't, I don't think it matters.
You can tell which one's the bottom and the top bolts because of the front.
Yeah.
Stripping her down. But I'm gonna get on sandblasting this and then I'll bring you back when I'm finished. If you haven't seen my sandblaster setup, this is a homemade pressure pot sandblaster out of an old compressor tank. Cut the top off, flipped it upside down. Pressure regulator, I'm draining the water out of it right now. Mounted a little vibration motor on the back, and then I bought some commercially available sandblast hose and tip. Just word of caution, it's a pressure vessel, so unless you're a really good welder, this is kind of risky, but anyway, it works well for me. And this frame is a pretty small project, so I just fished it out the window instead of having to roll this thing out there. Next time you see this guy, it'll be bare. It still always takes longer than I anticipate. It's 2 hours to do that frame. I want to get that frame coated quickly. This is some Osfo. It's a rust treatment. Gets in the cracks and crevices that you can't get primer in. It's May. Humidity's not terrible, but if I let it sit around long enough, it'll flash rust. I do not want that. So I'm putting this into a spray bottle, and we'll spray the frame down and let it dry 24 hours. The sun's starting to go down, so my lighting here isn't the best, but I wanted to kind of give you a close-up of what the Osfo does. One, it stings a lot on sand-blasted skin, but anyway, that's my fault for not wearing proper protection. The areas that works real well on the Osfo, really any area you can't get down into, like all these little creases and crevices like down in there. So I got it pretty thoroughly sandblasted, but those areas where there's little joints, I really think that stuff does a great job getting down in there and helping change the rust to, it changes it, some sort of conversion. I don't remember off the top of my head. It is an acid, but there's more to it than that. There's like a wetting agent. I tried to be cheap and buy just the acid from the hardware store, and I ended up getting terrible flash rusting after it had dried. So it's not worth just buy the actual stuff. It works really, really well. This is sit for a minimum of 20 hours, or sorry, minimum of 24 hours. And then you got to prime over it, and it recommends only oil-based primer. So it's not really a downside, it's just don't use any water-based primer over the top of it. It's been a pretty productive weekend. Tackled some of the stuff that I really don't like doing, but really needed to be done. This is a parts washer that I bought from a friend probably almost 7 years ago now. And I lifted this off of the forklift. I'll throw a picture up here. And cleaned out the bottom tank. I dumped the good solvent off the top, and then the nasty stuff I disposed of. I still need to clean the top, so knock that out. Let's see, what else did we do? Oh, I had a tote of oil that I picked up earlier in the week. So you know, I heat with waste oil all winter long, and I continue to collect year round. So I recently just turned the heat off. So my heater's in that little building down there. There's a boiler, and it runs to the house and then to the shop. And this is my oil rig. So I pump it with this pump, suck it out of the customer's tank and into mine, and then I drive it down there and fill the big white steel 1,000-gallon tank on the back of the building down there. So I use over probably about 1,500 gallons a year, and continuing to fill even during the winter. I can keep up with just the 1,000-gallon tank. Let's see what else. I disassembled the rest of the four-wheeler this weekend. The red one, that's the green one that's finished. All the parts are here like you saw in the intro. I cleaned the mill table off, and I cleaned this is a flat surface, and I already collected stuff on it, but cleaned this off and kind of shoehorned all my heavy stuff back in the back to give me a little bit more room, working room in here. I so desperately need a storage building. When I built this 30 by 50, I really never intended to have this much equipment, or big boy toys, I guess you'd call it. So it slowly fills up. And even though this building isn't super big, it's perfect size for a workshop. It's just I don't want to use it or double as a storage area either. So I'd love to have another building on the west side here. Nothing insulated or really even electric, just a gravel floor where I could pull stuff in and out would be great. And just a quick update on the green four-wheeler that I finished about a month ago now. My son and I have been riding it a lot. We ran a couple tanks of fuel through it. Starts absolutely perfect first time, just like the 300s always did. Really no issues to speak of. We've been running around the yard quite a bit, and kind of developed a little path or trail back here, kind of where I'm starting my little mini forest, so to speak. So we run it down this trail, which kind of winds down in the back and then towards the side of the property around the house. So, but there's only 3.5 acres here. There's not a terrible amount of space to ride. And then on the what we call the, or my kids have called the dirt mountain, we created some little trails up on here, and you got to watch out for the roots, but we use this for RC cars as well. You know, this is the excavation from when the shop was built about 13 years ago, and I've stolen dirt from it, but never really done anything with it, and I've threatened to clean it up, but the kids throw a fit every time. So it's just kind of sat here, and I try to somewhat manage the brush on it. But now it's our little ATV fun trail park area. I got a little here and kind of a side one here, but he's only 9, so this stuff seems big to him. And this is kind of the back acre that I've turned into my mini forest. I have a thing for being hidden in the trees, and this property really only had like 3 trees on it when I moved in, and I'm always looking to kind of close myself in. Not that I don't like my neighbors, I just don't want to look at them or always know what they're doing. The trail goes around through here and then back along there. But yeah, it's fun. And if you're curious of what 2 hours of sandblasting does to your grass, this was, you know, not great grass to begin with, but I've tried collecting it and it's just not worth it by the time you filter and screen it. So anyway, this part of the video is kind of where you guys come in. I transitioned from the Case 1840 restoration project. I ground really dug deep on that one. A lot of early mornings to get monetized, and the end result was worth it. Would I do it again? I don't know. But I'm at the point where I took on these Honda four-wheeler projects, and they don't seem to be gathering as much interest like I'd mentioned earlier in the video. So I'm kind of torn on what do I do moving forward. Do I do more kind of just Saturday in the shop update videos? Do I continue on filming this, the red Honda rebuild? I got some other projects in the shop, like the forklift needs the engine pulled and the seal replaced, cylinders packed. The problem I have is this is not my day job, obviously, and I have very limited time. And I'm trying to figure out to get a little bit more bang for my buck out of what I'm doing. I got to balance stuff that I actually need to get done with stuff that you guys actually want to watch. So, you know, throw a comment down below if you have an idea. Hopefully some of you guys that watch and never comment can maybe get on a computer, phone, laptop. I know a lot of people watch this on TV, and just comment on what you think regarding where I should take this channel. Anyway, it's kind of a shorter video, not a terrible amount of content, but kind of fill you in to see what I'm doing on the weekends. Please give me a like, subscribe, and comment what you think about what we talked about, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.